Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sleuthing Eye-Opening Tales of the Past. You're listening to WKDW 97.5 FM Real Community Radio, coming out of Northport, Florida. I am your show host, Marie LaBrosse, and I would like to thank you, the audience, for coming in and listening to my show and to us here at the radio station. We just recently got hit by lightning on our tower, and we are having a fundraiser this Sunday, which is August 28th at Austin's Old World Restaurant in Northport. 5 o'clock is time to come in, and then the show starts at 6:30. It's comedians and a little bit of music, but it's a fundraiser so we can help get the tower back up because it's about $15,000 to $20,000 it's going to cost us to do that. And we're an all volunteer nonprofit radio station. Nobody gets paid here, and we depend on you or whatever we can get to keep our radio station going and our sponsors. So if you'd like to participate and come, I'll have a flyer up on the screen in a little bit. And for you listeners, I'll tell you the phone number to call Austin's Old World Restaurant for reservations. And it's $15, but that money is being donated to the radio station to help with us getting back on the FM. No, we're on broadband, and if you have a smart speaker, you can always say, Alexa, play WKDW 97.5 FM, and we'll come on. And just for if you call it something else, like I have different ones around the house, and they're called different in each room, just know that you can listen to us anytime in your house with a smart speaker or on your phone if you have Alexa, the app, or Google Play, the app too. So today we're going to be talking about a very serious subject. And a serious subject is about bullying, suicide, uh, mental health, and how you and all of us, I think, have suffered in some way, especially during COVID, the pandemic, the lockdown. Especially if your personality is a type like mine is, I need people to actually lift me up around me. And when you're isolated with the same people, or you're not around people too much, it kind of I had gone through a little bit of depression. I had other things that were going on with some health issues, but I didn't realize it until I realized it, that I'm not a person that normally ever has that happen. I'm one of those fortunate ones that I can kind of let things roll off, but not everybody's like that. Not everybody can cope with a lot of things that are going in their lives, especially bullying in today's world. We see this so much, and I want to bring on our guest right now, Joan Morgan. Now, Joan Morgan is someone she's a leader in the city of Northport. The Morgan Center is named after her and her family. And she's done so much for the community and still does to this day. Welcome to the show, Mrs. Joan Morgan. Hi.
Thank you. Thank you, Marie, for all you do. And I'm glad that you're doing a fundraiser, and we'll try to get there on Sunday to Old World. Don't know the new name yet. I mean, we still call it the Old World, but they're doing a good job to keep on the traditions that were set there. So anyway, thank you. This is the kind of thing I wish we didn't have to do. But on the other hand, it has to be done because sadly it is happening. Bullying is something that, well, to be honest, in just about every situation that we're talking about, all the situations with teens especially, we hear the word bullying. I talked to a mother, and I'll show you how deep it is. In doing the social services, they had a back to school program, And they kept the people in the cars, and the cars went around. It was great, so you could talk to every single person. It wasn't like they could get by you like they could if you had a booth at at an event. So you talked to every single carload. And I had this one mother who took her kindergarten student out of school because of bullying. A kindergartner. That is insane. That
That
is
is
insane.
that is terrible. And today's world, Joan, one of the things that we are finding is with social media, the access to your cell phones here, where I've seen a lot of parents just hand the young child a cell phone to go play a game. Um, the access, as we were growing up, we didn't have that access given to us where we went outside and played, and we weren't concerned about that. Yes, we had bullies. You had the big bully that, uh, uh, you know, uh, would bully you, or maybe even have a few people around them that got a little bit tough in that. But you know what? Most of us learned how to, deal with that and fight with that in today's world. And our parents would get involved, and the school system would too. And when John, you remember this, when we were in school, I remember getting the pointer. I remember being in the closet there at
Oh
school,
yeah.
or asked to come up to the front of the room because I was being mouthy. Believe it or not, I know it's hard for the audience to believe this, that I was a mouthy person, but I had a habit where I'm a mouth, and that's my leadership style. I have everything that goes in my brain comes out my mouth. I've learned to curb it a bit as an adult now, and only within the last 20 years. So that goes, and I'm pretty old now. So with that, and everybody has different leadership styles. And with that being said, the knuckles, with a ruler across the knuckles.
Hmm.
And anybody that went to a Catholic school, and I'm not one of those, but my husband was. Yes, they had punishment that you didn't get mouthy with the nuns or the teachers, and even with us growing up, you just did not do that. You had respect for the teachers. And Joan and I were talking about this before we even came on air, Joan. And you were talking about people that are in the teaching field are getting burnt out and don't want to be in there, and they've been in it for 20 years, and they said they can't deal with it anymore. How
I
bad?
loved being a teacher. I loved it. I loved teaching. I'd love to be back in front of the classroom. It was you got paid for having fun almost. I mean, it was really, really a good profession. I loved working with the kids. I loved being the senior class sponsor, and I loved working with the kids in all sorts of ways. But it is different now, and it is sad, and what they expect, expectations are different now. For example, I was the high school history teacher, and I was the head of the department for 20 years over at Lemon Bay High School. But now you have to spend, the teachers are telling me, an hour to an hour and a half making up your lesson plans. Not that you need them for yourself, because believe me, we all knew what we were doing. And sometimes we had these little bitty notes and all this kind of stuff, but we all knew what we were doing. But now you have to do them to show them off, because our parents have a right to see them and to see everything you're doing. And now you have to prove that every question that you ask on a test goes back to some standard. Okay, we covered them all. We did it, but this way of doing things, and it's too much. And it's kind of like, yes, what makes me sick is that I've talked to some teachers that love teaching like I did, that did so much other, and they're saying they have to get out because they can't handle it anymore. And my husband and I were both teachers, and we sat here to 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night correcting papers. My husband taught the calculus and that, and he looked through every problem and every bit of work every kid did. And I had the history, so I had so many essays because my kids took the AP state test to get college credit in that. But it's all of that stuff that's being put on them, And then the attitude of disrespect. When we were growing up, if you got in trouble at school, God help you at home. You know, if you got in trouble in school, let me tell you something, you got in trouble at home. And it doesn't seem to be that way. The anticipation is, let me see what you've done wrong. And so what I can get after the teacher or the school system and that. And it's really a sad situation. We have got to let teachers be teaching and do what they do well. We need teachers. Every single person who has grown up, okay, if they've made it through the school system, they have at least one teacher that they want to go back, hug, and thank for making their lives better and different. All of us, we need teachers. We need our first responders. We need so many people. And what we're doing is we're showing them disrespect and not doing it. Now, the bullying, I tell you what, once upon a time when we were growing up, the boys had the better solution. Okay. If they had a problem with somebody, you know, they got in the back lot and they duked it out a little bit. And usually they became best friends, you know, and they really, that was over. Girls, not so much. When they get a grudge, man, girls can be nasty. You know?
Well, mean girls. I want to do a shout out to Justin Cody Willis. Justin's been watching us, and bullying has to be confronted. We have to give kids access to services to cope. Learning how to cope will help kids learn how to communicate. Kids deserve the chance, and that's one of the things. Is a lot of times you don't even learn how to cope with anything. You learn around your surroundings of. And if a parent, and I'm going to say this from my own experience, if you haven't learned how to cope with some of the things because you weren't given the tools or you weren't surrounded by the tools of parenting, how to cope with different things, how are you going to know how to do it? Some people have it naturally, not everybody has that. And then here's another thing that Justin said: let's get the politics out of education and just let the teachers teach. I agree
Absolutely.
with you 100% there.
Absolutely, absolutely. As a former history teacher, if I went back today teaching, I'd probably be fired before noon. I swear, because it's like, it's like, please let the teachers be teachers. Okay. Now, here's another thing. You're talking about coping skills, you're talking about school skills. Ask any teacher today. And here's the problem: the kids don't have those skills. I'm talking with middle school teachers that are saying that it's like they're back teaching grade school. It's like they're teaching early elementary because these kids, a lot of them lost 2 years basically. Number one, they don't have the skills. They're not on the level of performance, reading, math, or whatever that they should be. And that's not their fault. Okay. And number two, the fact is that basically I've talked to middle school teachers that say they don't even know how to do school. They don't know how to stand in line, sit down, do this, do that, know what to do. And that is sad. And here's another thing, and this is off the topic, but a lot of them, they can't even get books, okay? Because they're supposed to do everything by computer and everything else. Well, I'm sorry, I'm old school. I need a book. I used a book. I had to go back a lot of times to make sure I had it. And the resources are just not there for them because they don't give them the books. I can remember trying to buy a book for a middle school person who was autistic in science, and I couldn't get a hold of one. I went to Scott's Fordman, the manufacturer, and it didn't matter what, I had to pay for it. I wanted this book for this child, and I wasn't able to get one. It's insane. They need backup material. They need the sources. Okay, but that's not creating all the bullying. Our society, and you're saying that a lot of parents, they shove the phone at them. Well, here's the deal. The deal is, and before COVID, we got a lot of kids into Holly's Hope, and we said, tell us what's wrong. Tell us what we can do. Tell us what you need. And a lot of them, unfortunately, said they don't feel confident going to the school counselors. Well, first of all, we need more school counselors. Okay. And they need to have more of association with the kids so they're not afraid of them. And they need to be there. And I have heard things come out from counselors that say they were told by the school counselor, please tell me you're not here for suicide. That'll cost more paperwork. Oh my gosh, that is not the attitude that we need. All right. but we do need something. Anyway, we talked to the kids and we said, put down that social media, put down that cell phone. I mean, we never, we weren't allowed for a long time. Kids would not be allowed to even have a cell phone in school. All right, but I have to call my mom. Well, with the shootings and that, my gosh, some of those cell phones were necessary, and you're not going to get them away now. But we said, you got to get away from your cell phone. You can't take your whole existence. You can't take your confidence in yourself based on a cell phone, based on some social media thing. And for the parents' sake, there are ways that they're getting around things. For example, on the cell phone, parents think they're looking at a music app or something like that, but basically it's not. You go into it and it's pornography, it's this, that, it's the other thing. It's really bad things because there's so many ways to work around it and things like that. I mean, life is just so whatever. Then you took COVID, and after you tell people get away from your phones, then you have COVID, and the kids are locked in their house, locked in their rooms. All of a sudden, they're locked out of their schools, and the only way they have to communicate is the cell phone. You know, and this is what these kids have been through for 2 years. All right, we have so many things. What we're trying to do with this program we're put on. We're trying to change a culture. All right. We have to change a culture. We have to change it from you tell what's going on to somebody and you're a tattletale, oh, get away from her. They're a tattletale. No, we have to have the openness. We have to stop this. We cannot let these people win. All right. The other thing kids need to know unbelievably that they put pictures of their body parts on a cell phone. And guess what? They're controlled for life. They have them. And also, they need to know that guess what, folks? Those pictures go out to somebody else. You're talking a felony. They don't realize it. Why would you put basic 101, guys? Don't put any body part picture on any cell phone or anything. That's not going to make you popular. That's going to
Nope.
not make somebody like you.
Nobody
Don't
wants
do
to see my body out there, so that's not going to happen on my end. But you're right. When you're a young person, it stays the way that the internet and all that, it's out there. It's out there forever. There's
right.
no
They
taking
got
it.
you. They
It's
got
no
you.
taking it back, and it can ruin your life, and it can ruin a career as you move forward. Now, Joan, let's talk about the program that's going to be coming in to address the bullying and how this all came to be.
Well, sadly, in Northport, we have lost 4 young people from suicide in the last 12 months, and bullying was part of it. And some of these situations are not even making the newspaper or anything. Some of them some of them you don't know. Anyway, bullying, 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 that's what we constantly heard. And this is happening. And I have seen so many of the bullying messages. And you sit there and you go, how can one human being write this to another? So we had to target something. There are a lot of problems out there, but you got to come up with one and target it. So what we did, we figured, okay, we need to get a program here on bullying. So what we did through Holly's Hope and Elaine Emmerich, God bless her, God bless her, God bless her. She wears so many hats and does so many things, but she was the one that really researched who we should have as a speaker. And she came up with Fabian Ramirez. And we all checked him out. We had a lot of people checking him out and his credentials and seeing his programs and that. And it seemed to be the right fit. He really seems to have a great message. Everyone that we've had check him out is coming back with the same thing. He has high credentials. So Holly's Hope is paying for him to come over here. And luckily, we're very thankful we had the money to do it. This is not cheap, okay? And he's going to be coming over here September 21st. And he'll put on 3 shows for that day. All right, we decided we have to go to the Performing Arts Center because we had a You Are Not Alone Part 1 that the city of Northport, Jerome Fletcher, our new city manager, really stayed on top of and got a whole team working on it. And they put on a Part 1 in April at the Morgan Center. and it was phenomenal and it was great and everything else was okay, but the acoustics was horrible. The activity centers don't have it. So a big thing was to get the Performing Arts Center. So we have that for September 21st. Now we figured out how do we get that to as many people as possible. So we came up with a plan. We're going to have a high school program. That high school program is going to go out and stream into the rooms at Northport High School. Some of those kids will be brought into the auditorium to hear them in person. Okay. For the other classroom, it's going to be streamed into their classrooms. And we are also going to have it streamed into the Imagine High School classrooms. All right. So it'll be into those classrooms, which frankly, I like better. And why do I like it better? I don't need 900 people in an auditorium with a couple kids getting there on their cell phone while this guy's speaking, saying, "Oh, who wants to listen to this crap? Ha 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 ha," and turning others off. I don't need that. Okay. I like the fact that we're going to be in a classroom with like 25 people and have the teachers focused on watching them and being with them and hearing their remarks and hearing their attitude towards it so they can have a good discussion after. So that's going to be the high school program. Then we're going to have a middle school program. The middle school program is going to go to Woodlands Middle School. It's going to go to Heron Creek, and some Heron Creek students are going to be brought over. So there will be some in the auditorium to hear his program. It's going to go out to Imagine Middle School. So we're going to hit all the middle schools. Now, we had to go through a lot of hoops and get everything set. And here's the reason why. The new law said that every parent would have to sign for them to see any kind of programs about mental health. And the thing is to get every parent to sign, all of those parents, Woodlands, Imagine, Heron Creek, and Northport High School to sign would have been an impossible situation. But there's also another law, and the law says that the school system has to provide 5 hours of mental health programming during the year. Okay, this is going to be one of those hours. So that meant what they had to do, the school system was extremely diligent, and this took us a lot of time, that they went back and they interviewed a number of times Fabian Ramirez. They went through all the criteria that he would have to fulfill. And guess what? They certified him to be a mental health person. So that counts in those 5 hours. So he can be used for those two programs, and we don't have to get all those signatures, which would have been impossible. So there's been a lot of steps that had to be taken. All right. Now, after that at night, we're going to have, starting at 6 o'clock, we're going to have food in the courtyard, quick food. Remember, you can't take it into the auditorium. We don't have that totally established yet, but we are working on it diligently. Believe me, we're working on it diligently. Okay. And we're trying to get food so they can have that, because a lot of people might be coming from home. We decided to have the program at night at 7. So people trying to, get home from work and get whatever. The program at night is going to be open to everybody. We've been asked, should I bring my child? Sure, it's about them. Okay. We want them to be there. We have sent a copy of our flyer to schools, like say in Charlotte County and things like that, to go around. We want those administrators there. We want them to see this program. And if it works for us, guess what? Maybe they can get it into the Charlotte County school system. Now, we would like to have, and we've been asked by many people, what about the grade schools? This program needs to be in the grade schools. All right. I wish it was, but there's only so much we can do for this one program, this one time. We have to go beyond that, because the school would basically make all those parents sign kindergarten through 5th grade, and that would be another huge problem to solve. But I'm hoping that if this program goes so well, that we eventually have something that we can do in the grade schools, because a lot of people have begged us, saying it's starting in the grade schools. They need it. Okay. But here's what we're trying to do. We need to change a culture, and that includes the parents. I am sorry, but a lot of the kids that end up bullying have been bullied by their parents or other adults. We have to have the parents and everyone else say, guess what? I have to talk to my kid. All right. I have to listen to them. A lot of kids will talk to anybody but their parents first. There's one of the culture that needs to change. Also, of course, we need more mental health experts with that. Now, what we are doing during these programs, okay, because some kids during this program, because this guy is very much in your face talking with you, all right, are you a bully? Have you bullied? Here's what it is, and all this stuff. We are going to have mental health experts at each one of these schools and facilities while this program's going on if they need to speak to somebody after. So for all parents of middle school and high school kids, know we are going to have separate rooms with counselors there, all right, to handle any problems a child might have. We want to change their culture. We want people to not just tattle, but we want to know what's going on. And we need to have them, they know the kids that are doing this, tell them to stop it. All right. And that's the only way it can happen. You don't have to come under the power of a bully. You are beautiful. You are good. You are worthy. You deserve to live. You deserve to be able to walk around. You don't need to be kicked down, hit down, yelled at, smashed. You are worthy. Okay. And you don't need somebody we talked to these kids and some of them said if they don't get 100 likes um, during the day, then they don't think they're any good. No one needs 100 likes. I have a hard time getting 100 likes, you know? No one needs 100 likes from strangers. No
Well,
one
and Joan, yeah, it's a different type of a culture, how they look at themselves. And you're right, with COVID, they were so isolated. And I don't even know how some of those parents coped because they're not teachers. And they were expected to actually work with their children during that time. And we don't know what happened within the household. We don't know how much abuse was going on, because I know that a frustrated person locked into a situation. Um, and here's another thing, and I'm kind of going off, but we emulate as children growing up what we see.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
if within your household you see different things, if you see a parent being bullied by another parent, and
Mm-hmm.
we know that because of talking with, with your Center for Abuse of Rape and emergencies, uh, I'm just looking at in today's society, we see it in a store. You can go to in a store, and we always use the example of Walmart because you will see all different types of people in there, but you will see people, and you will see how children are being treated by their parents when
Yep.
they're out shopping, or how they're, well, if they're acting like that with those kids out in public, what do you think they're doing at home?
Right. Well, you
And
see,
and
this is
and,
what
and
you
yeah.
see, Paul, this is I'm taking you because this we're gonna have the greatest day alive. And if the kids don't do exactly what they want because they get tired and bored and they do things, then you want to slap them around because I spent so much money on you getting here, and it's sad. And you know what? When we ask parents to be the teachers, I will tell you I was a teacher. Okay. I will tell you my husband taught the calculus and all this stuff, the higher level math. But when our own grandchildren are asking us how to do the new division, which makes no sense, and all of this kind of stuff, it is hard because we don't have those skills. And I'm sitting there going, I can do this for you. I can't do it the way they're telling you to do it, you know, and I don't know how to explain some of that stuff to you because let me tell you something. We are not trained, we're parents, we're not trained teachers in all sorts of areas. We all as teachers learned our own areas and hopefully we knew that, but there is no way for me to be home teaching a kid foreign language. No way. I mean, there's just no way. Or even as I say, the math, the science, and that for a grade school kid, I don't know how to explain it to them. I can do better on the other end. I can do better on the high school end. And, God bless those elementary teachers because I'll tell you what, and this is offered a little bit too, but I will take more kids in my high school classroom, all right, if they learn how to read. Okay, then we can deal with them. But for those kids, if we don't have enough elementary school teachers that are sitting there and doing the oral reading and really getting these kids to be good readers, if they cannot read, they cannot do math word problems, they cannot do science, they cannot do anything. I mean, besides the history and all this kind of stuff, the psychology, sociology, if they can't read, they need to learn to read. And look at what we've done, and we are going to be years catching up on this. But look at how many thousands of kids spent grades 1 and 2 and 3, which is the basic years to learn how to read. And they're sitting home with parents that tried, some of them didn't try, okay? But some of them tried. And the thing is, they can't emulate the teacher and do all the things that a trained professional knows how to do and has a way of doing it. God bless them. I do not want to be teaching anybody how to read and phonics and all that kind of stuff again, or basic math, okay? Because I don't have the skills. None of us have all the skills.
I
All right.
want to I want to raise a hand from our audience, and I know there are people out there watching because I can see that. I want to put in the comment, how many of you still read to your child before they go to bed? Go and read a book with them or something before that child goes to bed. I know when I was raising my children, I always, they got to the point that they didn't want me to do that. They got older, but when they were young, and I helped raise a stepson, but he didn't come into my life till a little bit later, and he didn't have real good reading skills at that time because he was with his mom. And anyhow, that's a whole different story. But he tells me now as an adult, he said, "You took the time. You were always sitting there reading with me and taking that time." And at night, I'd come and read to him and the my son. Actually, I made them read to me. I always wanted them to tell me the story and to get into the flavor of things before they went to bed. And I don't know how many of you out there still do that. Do you take the time to sit and read with your child?
That was
Uh,
one of my
and
favorite times during the day. I mean, to be there on a one-to-one with them. I mean, it was wonderful. It was so soothing for us. And it was so soothing for them, and it got them in the mood to want to sleep, and just a very soothing time. And yes, and you said a very important thing, Marie. You said that the stepson things were different and all this stuff, but how many millions of kids are into the same situation where there's all of this extra stuff going on? I mean, we're talking about hundreds of millions of kids that have some of those situations. Very few have the perfect situation. Very few have that perfect situation. There are more, different situations, and they're out there, and there's all sorts of situations. So it's kind of like whoever the child is, yours, not yours, there for a day, there for a year, there for a lifetime. Read to them and make it fun. You got to make reading fun and exciting, and then wanting to next part of the story and things like that. And it'll be as great for them, but for yourself, this is a wonderful time of day.
to actually have that connection to and have those memories, and when referring back to something like that, those connections, like at the dinner table when I was growing up, and I know this doesn't happen even in my household at times, that you sit at the dinner table as a family and eat. You put away your devices and you sit there and have a conversation. My husband was raised different than me, and we just had this conversation the other day. I was in a family of 6 children. We were never told to shush. And a lot of that's why I can talk over people and have this conversation. He said that he was told to be quiet until that other person was done speaking. Now that it depends on how you were raised, the different levels of communication. And when you look at the different things, we always sat at the table together, ate dinner, and then we stayed afterwards if we didn't have anything else that we had immediately going with our parents, with my parents, and we would have a conversation. A lot of times it would last for a couple of hours, from an hour to 2 hours. And that's where my dad would be dying today with the political portion, because he would talk about politics and different things at that time. But I've never had my parents say, never respect my opinion, any of us kids' opinion. And education was so important to them too, that we continued on. And all six of us kids in the family, and neither one of my parents went to college, but yeah, every one of us kids did go to some sort of, the secondary type of education. And they were so proud of it. They would say to their friends, yeah, all of our kids went to, college, or yeah, actually all of us had gone to college. And whether it was for a 2 year degree, well, depending on what they were doing, or I have one of my brothers was a lead pharmacist at the Mayo Clinic Methodist Hospital and worked on um, new drugs and stuff coming in for cancer treatment. They would do, be working with trial and error. And then I had, well, anyhow, enough about me. But the point I'm trying to make here is family is so important.
Right.
Family and what you teach your children and grandparents, you can have so much of an influence, even if the family is a little dysfunctional. You can make that difference and be a listening board for that grandchild, for that child, or watch for those signals, because you don't, the personalities, and Joan, you know that too, that looking at, we miss some things. Sometimes we're too close to the person to really recognize, they may start getting more silent in things that they do. So, Joan, would you address that? Because that's one of the things that depression sets in with the bullying portion. There are signs out there, and most of us aren't trained to actually look for what to look for.
Okay, basically, I would say to every parent, yes, be a parent. We are losing out. Parents are losing out on their children. They don't know. They don't know their own child. If they knew their own child, they would be more up to date and try to help them. Know your children's friends. Know your children's friends' parents. Have them to your house and look for the signs. And if you see any signs that you're funny, there are more counselors at every school now. Not enough, I'll grant you that, but they are there, and there is help. There's Charlotte Behavioral, there's Care, there's NAMI, there's Valerie's house. There are places, more places right now to get help. Seek that help. Don't be so stubborn to say, my child will never do this, or I don't want anyone to know my child has a problem, because then, it'll reflect on me. Well, bull crap. Okay. If your child has a really bad life, it's going to reflect on you. Be there for them in this uncertain, messed up world today. Not every child is going to be able to make it through without any problems. Realize that there are more children with problems than without problems. So seek the help. You can call people, you can get help. If you don't know where to go, start with just call the watch lines. I mean, and just say, hey, it's not suicidal, but I need help. All right. Call the police department, call the health department and say, my child might need some help. What do I do? The first thing we hear from everybody, it's the first thing. Number one, I have no insurance, I have no money, we need help. That is a given. Okay. But let me tell you something. Every single case that we've had and people would work with us, We can get them help. It's not the easiest. All right. And you might not be able to crack that on your own, but you can call a health department and say, in today's world, which is easier because they're going to listen to you for mental health, I need help. If your child's in school, you can call the school and say, my child needs extra help. Get it for them and stay on that and be there and listen to the child. Because I'll tell you what, once they start choosing the wrong people to be friends with and listen to those wrong people and start going down the line, the chances of getting them back on are harder and harder and harder. And let me tell you something, I hate to say it. If you don't think it's happening, you're naive. There's human trafficking around. There's a lot of it. There's a lot of it. Okay. And let me tell you something, folks. Here's where they start getting their victims. Okay. You put a picture of yourself, as we said before, body parts on a cell phone or something like that, and they get a hold of it. And then it's, well, here, you do this for me, or else I'm telling your parent or whatever. They have you. Okay. They have you. So what we need to do is this. If we could just stop society, if we could just stop it and start again. All right. There used to be a group, and it was called Venice Children Under 5. And I'll tell you what their main thing was. And here's something we are bad about in the United States. Their thing was that we want to make sure every pregnant woman has prenatal care. Because guess what? Here's the statistics that not too many people know. Most of the people that drop out of school, most of the people that are in prison have one thing in common: under a 5-pound birth weight. Okay. Prenatal care costs about $1,000. Okay. Without prenatal care, and once they're born, okay, the person who has a premature baby but has all the resources and everything else, they might be fine. But you take a premature baby, okay, that doesn't have all the resources, all the best things going for them, then they've a double whammy. Under 5-pound birth weight is the majority of the people that don't graduate from high school and that are in prison. Because guess what? Those cells don't divide the way they should to begin with. All right. And they're always playing catch up. All right.
I did not know that, Joan, and you just educated me on something I was not aware of. I have a question to you about suicide too. The 4 suicides that they've had recently, were those traced back to social media bullying?
Oh yeah, social media was involved in some of them. Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Oh my gosh. And bullying. And unfortunately, believe it or not, and I know this is hard to believe, that even after the death, the bullying of these did not stop. Now, why would a parent look at that stuff after they've gone through that? I don't know. But on the other hand, God bless them. I mean, they're going through so much and they just want to whatever. But on the other hand, there are so many. This is about the saddest thing going. I talked to a woman not too long ago that brought her child in for DeFi. And she is a nurse at an emergency room, and said you would be appalled at how many kids come in that have tried hanging themselves. I mean, and you sit there and you go, oh my God, the attempted suicides, unfortunately, the cutting, which seems to be going away a little bit, and some of this stuff, and some of these TikTok games of doing things. Oh, it's just insane. Don't listen to that stuff. Don't get involved in that stuff.
Their brains aren't developed enough. The maturity isn't there to make those definitions of, we get taught right and wrong, and it all stems to a lot of things and the things around us. What is right? What is wrong? If we're seeing bullying, if we hang with people that are bullying, or if we're isolated, if we're an introverted person and you don't know, I'm an extroverted person. I don't know what you are, Joan. I think you're extrovert. Yes. We're people that would probably go out there and seek help anyhow, if we had something going on. But if you're an introvert, I don't know if they keep everything inside,
Mhm.
and I don't know how to crack them.
Well, here's the problem. Okay. Yeah. You have that. You have bodies because of nutrition and what people eat and our lifestyle, whatever, that are maturing faster. So physically, these are people are looking as adults when they're fairly young. I mean, younger than they are look physically mature young at a younger age than we did. All right. And you have access to all of this stuff. I mean, I listen to the programs that are on TV, and it's like teenage mother, whoa, and all this stuff and what they put on there. And it's like, is there anything that is going to teach them apple pie, mommyhood, grandmahood, father's knows best? Those programs are gone, and it's just like, it's sad and it's sick. And what we're putting out there, and the people that we celebrate, okay, the people that we celebrate as heroes. I'm sorry, let's go to the sports world. I'm sorry, I gotta go there. But when you have somebody who has been charged with 15 rapes and molesting and all of this kind of stuff, and then you put him out there as a sports hero and you pay him 500 million bucks. I mean, it's sad. But these are the people we put out there as our heroes, to the ones you were supposed to emulate. No, no, just be a good person. You don't have to be the head of a corporation. You don't have to be whatever. What you need to be first is a good person. And parents need to learn. Parents need to learn, because as a teacher, we had these parents come in and say, if my kid doesn't have straight A's, they won't go to college and all this stuff. And I'm going, oh my gosh, especially when the kids had
Yeah,
higher level science and math that they couldn't do. And they put them in these classes, and my kid can't get a C. Well, maybe a C is a great mark for this kid. Maybe it's the
yeah,
best they can do. And this kid is, instead of saying, God bless you, you did this, it's kind of like, instead of just like, oh my gosh, you won't get the scholarships and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, we don't need to have this plastic face. And we have to have the makeup on the girls as early as can be. And you got to have your makeup, you have your makeup box. And also, no, they don't need that. Just be kids. Enjoy being kids. God,
yeah.
let
Don't-
your kids enjoy being kids, because it's such a short period of time. And basically, it is so important. Don't make them walk too fast. My gosh, listen to the reports. Crawling is so good for your brain. It's so good for your development. You don't need to have your kid be the first one to stand up and walk at 7 months of age. No, if that kid isn't walking to 13 months or 14 months of age, that's fine. The longer you crawl, they'll tell you how good it is for your
my
brain.
Yeah, my oldest started walking around furniture and stuff. 7 months, took her first steps at that time, off of stuff. She
Yeah.
never really crawled. And that was my
Crawling
oldest.
is good. Psychologists will tell you how important crawling and
Oh, yeah.
development is. So be there for your kids. Please come to this program on September 21st. It is open for parents. It is open for people who don't even have kids. Be involved. We need the whole village to raise the child again. You see something happening. And what programs do we have? Number one, people will listen more to mental health today than they did in the past, because they know it's a buzzword that they have to listen to, instead of, oh, don't tell anybody. Okay. Number two,
Joan, is there a phone number or email that anybody could call in case they wanted
they
to?
can they can use mine. They can use mine if they need to. Um,
Okay, and what is that?
my email is emjm67@yahoo.com. My
Okay,
phone
okay.
my phone number is 941-875-8996.
9996.
941-875-8996. Yes.
8996. I'm
I
putting
try
this
to
up
get,
for.
I don't have the answers to everything. I try to connect them to the people that might have more answers, to be able to get help. There is more help out there. As I say, call the health centers and things like that. There is more help for mental illness than there was in the past. Okay. We have a long way to go, but there is more help out there. But most important, listen. I don't care if it's a neighbor, Everybody needs to have somebody important in their life, and it's not always mommy and daddy. Okay, it could be a neighbor, it could be a friend of the families, it could be grandma and grandpa. Okay, a teacher. So many times it's a teacher, but you need somebody who's going to give you the right information. Kids, do not put your body parts out on any stupid media. Do not listen to media. Read a book, do something, listen to good music, okay? But don't sit there and make your whole world on who likes me socially. And you put your pictures out. I see this on Facebook. I wanna throw up almost when I see actually some
Yeah,
I know. And all
to
this
see
they
all that. Yeah.
yeah, they put
We're going to have to end the show now, Joan. Our time is coming to a close. Before we do end, Joan, if you see it scrolling across the bottom of the screen, September 21st, 7 p.m., come at 6 because they'll have food in the, what do you call that, the courtyard.
courtyard.
And yeah, Northport Art, the Stop the Bullying, Holly's Hope, Sarasota County Schools, City of Northport, Kiwanis Club of Northport, and the Florida Center are sponsors for all of this and
Yep.
are behind this. And I want to also do a shout out to let people know with the radio station getting hit by lightning, it's going to cost us $15,000 to $20,000 for all the repairs and that. And we are having a fundraiser on Sunday at Austin's Old World Restaurant in Northport. And if you're in the area, it's a comedy show. It's $15. You can call Austin's Old World for reservations, which is the phone number is 941 426 1155. This Sunday, August 28th, and 5 to 6 is pre-show seating. 6 o'clock is live music, and at 6:30 they're going to start stand-up comedy, and you'll be able to buy food there. And there's a 50-50 raffle and more. And this is being put on by the comedians that actually support us at Common Grounds and at the radio station. Common Grounds is part of the radio station, and a lot of people may not know that we're an all volunteer. Nobody gets paid at the radio station. Community radio station. You can listen on broadband on www.kdwradio.com. Currently, that's the only way you can hear us, or on your smart speaker, which is Alexa, play WKDW 97.5 FM, and I probably turned on some of your speakers right now, and we'll come on. But to all of our audience, thank you so much for tuning in today and for listening to us. And remember, mental health is, all of us have issues. And if you don't say that you have an issue, at times things happen in your life. There's death, there's life situations, there's divorce, marriages, children, empty nesters, whatever. Loneliness that creeps in as you get older. You may be left alone. So there are things that happen in people's lives, life events that affect our mental health. Be there for everybody. And most importantly, please be kind. If you're not kind, what does the world become? I don't know. We're seeing it right now. There's a lot of people that are saying ugly things out there. If you're just kind and be respectful and listen to everybody's opinion without throwing them under social media, that's where you see it the most. They throw them under the bus, and to me, they're like killing everybody, each other. I don't think I would have ever seen that, but in the past with people, they don't say that usually to your face. It's always behind a keyboard. So to all of you out there, just try to take the time to be kind. come out to the program on September 21st at the Northport Performing Arts Center at the high school and support the school system, Holly's Hope, and all the different organizations that are bringing you and trying to get the word out to stop the bullying. Thank you so much. Thank you, Joan Morgan, for
Thank you.
always
Thank you
being
for all
there.
you do.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for all you do.
Hey,
And to Ed for getting him on his computer.
hey, he's a great guy.
Yes. Have a great day. See you again next week on Sleuthing Eye-Opening Tales of the Past on WKDW 97.5 FM, Real Community Radio.